All right, today we're going to talk about should you cut your expenses? This is a pretty common question I get specifically and almost an assumption. And I want to really, really detail this out and give you context and really the full story behind this question, how I would approach this question, and think about it in terms of your situation. So, most people say or assume they come to me, I am the budget dog. I do budgets, I do finance, and they think instantly because they've always been taught this belief is that in order to become financially free, I need to cut expenses to therefore have a bigger savings pot to then invest that money and become financially free. Valid kind of assumption, I guess you could say. But I think a lot of that is built upon a belief system that our society and culture has. And if you've been able to tell anything recently, society and culture has no idea what they're doing. Credit card debt's at an all-time high. Financial literacy is an all-time low, and investments don't look great. And if you are the average investor, you're getting a 3% return over the last 20 years, opposed to a 9% return with just the average market in the last 20 years. It's pathetic. And so if you continue to think like the average public and the average person with finance, you're going to get those results, put simply. So, should you cut expenses? Let me give you some context. Lifestyle expectation, especially in America nowadays, is at an all-time high. The assumption I work with a lot of people. I work with thousands of people. The assumptions that when somebody comes to me and just like has this like belief system, and I can hear it in their voice and their tone and the way they, explain things as to why they should have what they have. It absolutely blows my mind. Uh, I should have this $50,000 car, and sometimes it's not even like, sometimes it's crazy stuff, and sometimes it's not crazy stuff. But like I should have this BMW because I have 4 kids and then they need transportation. I don't know about you, but I don't need a $50,000 BMW to transport my 4 children around. There are a lot better alternatives, but my neighbor has it. That's what my boss has it. So everyone around me has it. So I need it because we're herd animals. And so if you continue to think like that, you're always going to be broke. But if you really want to get wealthy, if you really want to do this the right way, realize there's 2 seasons. There's seasons of abundance and there's seasons of sacrifice. And both seasons are going to happen from time to time, just like winter, fall, spring, and summer. And it's okay. Eventually, if you're in a season of sacrifice, you'll get to the place of season of abundance. But there might be goals and different things that you want along the way where you have to go back into the season of sacrifice. Anything worthwhile is worth the sacrifice, and anything worthwhile requires sacrifice. So this is a assumption and belief that people don't understand. I don't care who it is. I mean, no matter how, you know, educated you are on the topic, most people will have that natural inclination. I don't need to sacrifice. I don't want to sacrifice. And it stinks to sacrifice. And they like lead with this like negative tone when I talk to people with their budgets or finance or anything like that. Now, at the same time, I think you should be living life. I don't think you should be like living in this as a hermit at all. And so most individuals will just assume or tack onto me because I'm, the budget dog is that budget equals cheap, equals frugal, equals nothing's no spend. I can't tell you how wrong those individuals are, how misguided those individuals are, how broke those individuals are going to be because that's such a scarcity mindset. And the reason they're continuing to be broke is because when they talk about this in their mind, they think what a tool, the tool they're referencing a budget or a financial plan or something of, let's call it being a grown up or being responsible, things like that. They're using this tool as like they're demonizing it. They're saying like this tool like provides like so many bad things. And that's all because the wiring in our brain has told us our whole entire life, and society has told us that budgeting equals cheap, frugal, and no spend. I spend more money than ever with a budget because I don't feel guilty at all. Those individuals feel guilty. And the reason they're pointing fingers like they always do is because they feel guilty every time they spend money. And they know that a budget is saying they shouldn't be spending money, but they're giving into those quick impulses, those quick feelings to spend money. Then they feel guilty. Then they say, well, I probably should budget, but no, that's a bad guy because that says I shouldn't be spending money and I really want to give into these impulses. How about you grow up? How about you realize that there's more to life than just giving into short-term impulses? There's also more to life than just saving money. and you can do it all. And what we've spent on different things, vacations, big investments, education, access, resources, a ton of money. I don't even want to put a number on it because it's numbers that people won't even comprehend. Uh, Hundreds of thousands of education I bought, hundreds of thousands of access, hundreds of thousands of resources I bought. And the only reason I was able to do that confidently without feeling any guilt or shame around that, which most people feel around money, is because I've had a tool to get me there. And it's not just a budget. A budget's one of the many, many tools that you can use in your financial world. Most novices will think a budget's like the end all be all, but that's like such a small, that's probably 5% of the whole puzzle. If you don't have like the balance sheet, the amortization schedule, the investment plan, the investment risk allocations, the tax diversification, the estate planning, the insurances, I'm not going to continue to go. But if you don't have all that, you don't have a full financial plan and you're at major risk. But assuming you have all that stuff, spend money, like live your life. I do it all the time, guys. And it's a matter of prioritization. What do I prioritize? What's most valuable to me? I posted the other day on my Instagram story that the biggest thing right now is my daughter's health. The second biggest thing, this is priority perspective. Second biggest thing was my well-being of my other daughter, plus my regular daughter, Logan, let's call it, plus my wife. $1 million Dravet donation, giving back to other people, helping my students, not really much else because I don't really care about stuff. I don't really need the next biggest car. I have a great car, I have a great house. That's all. That's all I need. I don't need new clothes. I don't need new, shoes all the time. I don't care what others post on Instagram or what new stuff they have. I couldn't even name the names because I really don't care. I don't know what my neighbor drives. Don't really care. They want to drive whatever, that's good for them. But my priorities are aligned with my goals. And I know if I continue to think and operate in this mindset, all of the goals that I have, which are taking care of my family essentially and giving to other people in a nutshell, are going to be taken care of. And if I want to spend something, if I have a need to go buy something or whatever, and I need it, I'll go do it. And I won't feel guilty about it because the priorities are aligned and I'm getting it for the right reason. And I know a lot of young guys might be listening to this and like, well, I really like cars. Ask yourself, do you really like cars? Not saying you do, not saying you don't. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying, most are thinking surface level. Same thing with, girls. Let's say you're going shopping and you value shopping or whatever the case is, like some type of makeup or whatever. I don't know. Purses, whatever you guys do. I don't even know what my wife does. So when you're thinking through this stuff, most people are like, well, I like cars. They make me feel good. Okay. That's such a surface level answer. Ask yourself why. You're going to get to the root cause. And this is what my financial therapist in the academy works with students on, is she talks to them about the why. And you ask yourself why 25 times, like a little child. And if you don't, if you go out in public and go to a store and, somebody's going to be a sales rep, right? You go into Best Buy and you say, what should I'm looking for this, this, and that. And they're going to say why. They're going to tell you what. And you say why. And they're going to continue to get more and more annoyed the more you say why, because there's deeper and deeper meaning behind why you're asking why. And they don't really know. They know surface level stuff because people are surface level. And if you think like that and you continue to operate surface level, you're never going to know why you're buying that car. You're never going to know why you're really buying the purse. Is it because you like it, or is it because of the dopamine rush you get when your friends and family come over and see it? Is it because you're insecure? Is it because you grew up with nothing and now you have to prove to the world that you got it? There's all sorts of deeper meanings behind why we do what we do. You have to address that. So it's not even about cutting expenses. And that was what the whole topic of the podcast was. It's about knowing why you're buying stuff. And does that align with your goals and priorities? And if it does, 100% go do it. If it doesn't, don't do it. It's not that tough. It's not that hard of a decision to make. But as long as you're in a good financial position, and that's relative to many. Many think they are and they're not. But let's say just brief things here. Bad debt paid, debt management plan for other debt, investing to retirement, maybe investing to non-retirement. If those boxes are checked and you're fully doing this the right way, you've automated, you've systemized, you're not spending time with this, you know exactly what your allocations are, you have the estate plan, all those other things I talked about. All those things are in line, and you want to go on this sweet vacation with your family for the right reasons, not to go post on Instagram about it, but really for the right reasons, to have genuine bonding time and experience with your children and show them that what's more out there. If like that's the reason, go for it. Spend the money, do it, and don't feel guilty about it. And you shouldn't, because if you're tracking all this stuff, there should be no reason to feel guilty about anything you spend. A piece of paper, guys, $1 has no value. All it is an exchange of value to give to something else. And so we need to use that as a tool and stop idolizing or worshiping these types of things. Because most times when we're doing these things and operating from this perspective, we're thinking that we need to stack. And then a lot of people are using those to overcome deficiencies in their life, overcome shortcomings in their life. And when you start to think differently about how money is, what money is, and how to use it, you're not going to ask yourself the question of, should you cut your expenses? You're going to know how to align everything with your particular situation and have guilt, guilt-free, no shame, confidence. I'm trying to empower a lot of people, this generation of people that are looking to master their money. I want to empower you with education, with an understanding, with everything that comes with this. But until you start to think this way, it's going to be really tough. So with that being said, guys, I will see you next week.
You've been listening to Money on My Mind with your host, Brendan Schlagbaum. If you found value in today's discussion, share it with someone who could benefit from it too. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss a money mastery tip. Until next time, stay passionate about your financial journey and keep taking bold steps towards your money goals.